The hip and ridge caps cover the hip and ridges about 3 inches on either side. It is imperative that they are installed correctly so as to line up straight. We will put the top hip cap into place in the center of the hip and mark it on one side. Now you'll take that hip cap to the bottom of the hip, put it into place and mark it on the same side, and take a chalk line from the top to the bottom of the hip. The same process applies to the ridge as well. Always start at the top of the hip and continue down. It is important to stay right on the chalk line in order to keep the hip and ridge caps straight. This hip cap will go right up to the ridge, and later, after we finish the other hip, we will start the ridge cap like this. We'll show you that in just a minute. Each cap will take 2 nails. Now you'll take the next cap and tap it into the Z-lock. And nail it into place. Stay tight to that chalk line. An easy way to install the hip caps is to sit like Kevin is sitting. They go on quickly and easily. At the end of the hip, we will set in the final cap, and then we'll tap it against the drip edge to mark the cap. Now you'll trim this last cap 3/4 of an inch beyond your mark. And cut out the point. Now you'll bend these little flanges down to make your locks. And you'll need to cut off the point overlap right here. You'll lock it into the preceding cap and into the drip edge. Tap it into place. Now this is one of the few places where we will have exposed nails. We will cover these exposed nails later with a matching color of sealant. Now here we are at the ridge line where the hip lines come together. You will run your ridge cap to the peak of both of the hips and cut a slice in the middle of the cap to let the edges make a point. You will nail this first cap in not only in the nail tabs, but also on the peak of both hips. And one in the center to hold the sides down. These 3 nails will all get dabs of silicone. Now we will come down this hip to where it curves into another ridge. We will need to curve the hip caps. We will lay them about where you want them to go, and then mark where they are going to slide into the Z-lock. Cut the lock at the angle you've marked. and tap it in so that it will start going to the next direction. You'll put your 2 nails in, and then we'll do the same thing with the next one. Put it where it needs to go. Mark and cut it on an angle. Tap it in. And nail it. And there you have it. Hip and ridge caps.